Alright folks, turn 22. We've hit Conjuration level 3, great. Cast Terracotta Army, fine. Terracotta Soldiers will be useful chaff. Search for magic sites, found nothing. There was a battle in Troya where we just rolled in and took the province, no resistance. There was also a battle in Solam. We freed up our fort from the siege with our spiders. Fantastic. Unexpected events. The fertility cult is gaining influence. This is actually a minor story event, I believe, that can end in outright losing the province. So I have to do something about that. It means I have to send priests or I have to send an army, and it triggers a battle, I think, either way. In Santania, there's another monster boar. And in Juek, there was an assassination attempt, which ended with the long dead just being killed by one of my sorcerers. I think he probably cast... Well, he cast, yeah, dust for dust. There, dust to dust. There, bang, boom. No problem. In the Broken Land, we found a little bit of money. In Ctesiphon, we had unrest. Unfortunately, in Troya, our troops are starting to starve, because we've built up quite a large army, and there's not many supplies in Troya. This is very unfortunate, because starving, of course, lowers morale. And specifically, it's lowered morale on some of my pygmies. So, pygmies that are starving have morale 2. Infantry that are starving have morale 7. That's not enough. Black hunters who are starving have morale 6 when they also have battle fright. That guy also has battle fright. So, yeah, unfortunately, morale... Do all of these guys have battle fright? My god, they all have battle fright. That poor bastard is weakened and has battle fright. Battle fright. Wow. Wow. In any case, I'm sure you see the problem. Especially in Hostile Dominion, with all those penalties, the morale of this army is garbage. And unfortunately, low morale is the thing that kills you against skeletons. So if I were to fight, I was thinking about taking this army and standing my ground and kind of daring him to attack me. Because I think this is somewhat overblown, but even if this is 500 or 600 units, mainly skeletons, flaming arrows plus my guys up here spamming lesser fire elementals, plus the toughness of my infantry, well, the toughness of my core of infantry, these units, and spider cavalry, not the toughness of these guys, but the core, should enable me to massacre very, very large numbers of skeletons. Unfortunately, with my morale that low, my troops would just run. They would just run, and it would be a disaster. It would be a rout. So I'm skipping over here to Lorborough, which is a better supplied province, and I'm moving some troops down there. Now, unfortunately, they have negative supply usage because of these mages, so I also need to move Cheja to join the army, which is fine. I'll move Cheja down there. He'll take a bunch more nature gems so I can spam out some swarms. That'll be helpful. So we're going to gather the army here. And then we're going to have to strike somewhere. And we're going to have to be very, very careful of our resource, of our supply usage. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a pause, moving away from Conjuration to research Construction Level 2, which will enable me to forge bags of Endless Wine, which I can then give to my priests as they move through, and use to supply my enormous pygmy hordes. Because I am still churning out a lot of pygmies. This is 45 pygmies a turn. I need to do something to keep up with the long dead spam that Sceleria is churning out. He's probably up to, like, you know, a lot of long dead per turn. I don't know exactly how many, but quite a number. Still confused by that Shark Knight. Over here is where that event is happening. I need to do something about it, but unfortunately I don't really have the resources to do so. Except I can send Cascater over to try and weed them out, whoever it is. And he can pick up these two guys, and that'll give him some kind of a force. About 15 units, but he may need more in order to trigger the event. And I'd really like to not lose this province, because it gives me nature and death income. Pretty significant amount of death income. Speaking of death income, we now have 5 ladies spamming Dark Knowledge from the capital. Excuse me. So we should be able to site search my whole empire up to Death 9 pretty quickly. Dark Knowledge has a range of 3, if I recall correctly, so they won't hit Forest of Pine, but they'll be able to hit basically everything else all the way out to here, which is grand. And yeah, the army's going to dance just a little bit more as long as I get, because I've got another, this is another 70 pygmies plus 10 terracotta soldiers Terracotta soldiers, as you may notice, they're not, like, strong or anything, but they have two qualities that makes them good against Long Dead specifically. They have slash and pierce resistance, so they're resistant to both the types of damage that Long Dead do, and they're fire resistant, so my flaming arrows won't hurt them. Now, they never heal, unless they have access to a lab, and they're magic beings, so they have to be led by mages. That's kind of a bummer, but I'm willing to put up with it. Like, it's not a big bummer, because it means that I can, you know, shoot flaming arrows into them and not worry about it. Kakanja is going to spam out probably another Terracotta soldiers. Well, that's 10 fire gems, and actually I'd like to save those fire gems for fire elementals, I guess, so maybe I'll just have him cast Dark Knowledge. Or summon something that doesn't involve fire gems. Because Terracotta soldiers are nice and all, but really if I'm going to be casting this a lot, I want like a fire 3 to do it. Or more. Like the highest fire I can get. To get like 20. If I can get 20 Terracotta soldiers for 10 gems, fine. But I want to use my fire gems for fire elementals, really. I could summon... Let's have him cast Pack of Wolves. Because I need to. There's a monster boar here in Centania that I need to patrol out, and I think there's also one in the halls. And I'm kind of busy sending soldiers, so I can't really like stop to patrol it out. But a whole bunch of wolves could patrol a monster boar out. And then I could use some kind of troop to kill it. You don't need super good troops to kill a monster boar, but you do need, like, some troops. Possibly 60 pygmies could do it. We'll have to see. In any case, yeah, the random events are kind of hurting me a little bit. I think I'm going to hit him with another blight, actually. What's my research at? 268. That's actually exactly the right amount, I think, because Conjuration is 168, Construction is 100. So yeah, I daren't move any other mages off of research. So Hakima. Actually, why don't you research? You cast Blight on Sceleria again. So we'll hit Sceleria with another Blight. Still at now we're at 266 because we lost a path there. Ugh. Alright, you also research. Now we're at 280. That's fine. Okay, we have to be at that many. That's an appropriate amount. Ventus, yeah, I guess instead of heading over that way, you also need to head down this way. Yeah, join up with your buddy here, give him the spiders, he can go down there and clear the Forest of Pine, and then you can come over here, help clear the monster boar. Alright, money is a problem. Money is, like, seriously a problem. This is not a high-income part of the world, shall we say. These provinces are high-income. That province is high-income. The rest of it, not. Wastelands, mediocre forest, swamp, cave. It's not great in terms of income. I am not making a whole lot of moolah, and it is causing a problem because, of course, Sceleria, regardless of having relatively low income for having a ton of forests and caves and stuff, Celeria's troops don't require upkeep. The skeletons don't. So Sceleria can kind of get by a little bit better than I can. Now, admittedly, pygmies require almost no upkeep, a third of a gold per turn, but still, it's something. So, in any case, we are going to, we'll see what we can do. I think we can manage it, especially with all these priests spamming. If he sends skeletons against this army, they're going to take massive casualties very, very quickly. And this army, of course, this army will have pretty significant siege defense, because the Long Dead, even though they only contribute 0.1 each, they are still, you know, contributing something. And the Gladiators will contribute 0.5 or 0.6, something like that. So, I've got only 200 siege strength, because most of this army's numbers are pygmies. Got another 32 siege strength moving down. I think we can probably handle it. But we can't stick in Troya, because Troya's supplies are garbage. Absolutely garbage. Especially for how it's next to one of my forts. But in any case, I think we're, honestly, like I said, I think this army could actually fight this army. Once I get another 70 pygmies in it and another few blockers, I'm probably actually going to head down this way and attack this palisade. See if I can capture that. because that I can probably bust in one turn unless he moves a huge army in to stop me. And if he moves the huge army in to stop me, then I'll go besiege Mammoth Grove or Sceleria. He's got cold on both sides, so this river can be crossed. So, like, if he moves this army down here, and I'm besieging it, and so I'm not making any progress, I'll attack Mammoth Grove. And then I'll actually probably pass through Mammoth Grove, hit this palisade, bust it, and then take it. Or try to take it. This is where he's got some thaumaturgs. I don't know where else he may have some thaumaturgs. He might have some in this fort. I'm gonna move that scout down into Sceleria. So actually, no. That scout needs to stay there. I'm gonna move that scout into Sceleria itself. And yeah. Still recruiting sorcerers here. As soon as I hit construction level 2, I'll churn out some of those bags of endless bags of wine I've been talking about to relieve my supply issues, and then we will carry on into the war against the undead. Nazca is going to be helping me shortly, and we're going to try to get Vanarus, which is down here somewhere, to attack Sceleria as well. He seems amenable, but we'll see. Sceleria does seem to be concentrating almost all of their forces against me. Apparently they only have about 100 skeletons facing Vanarus, which is great. So in any case, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in turn 23. Okay, folks, yet again onto the breach turn 23, and as you can see, there were a couple of battles. One in Lorborough, where we were moving to, and one in Troya, where we moved away from. So in Lorborough, our army ran into his army, and this is the Grand Army of Sceleria. Actually, this is a fraction of the Grand Army of Sceleria. This is, but an important fraction. This is about 200 skeletons in skirmish formation, so staggered in an effort to reduce archer casualties, and then about 130 Rotariuses, which are his only units that he's been actually recruiting and spending money on. Now, Rotarii are cheap, because you only get to use them for one battle, but still, like I said, this is 130 of them, which means that this represents about 1,300 gold. In addition, he has a couple of Mound Fiends that he summoned. He has only one, I think, Solarian Cultist, and then the Mound Kings, who are leading both the Rotariuses and the Skeletons simultaneously. On my side, I have a more compact formation, about 250 pygmies. I know that doesn't look like that many pygmies, but look at that snowflake. That's impressive. Few cavemen in the back, and then up front I have my mixed mass of chaff. I've got mermen and hoplites holding my right flank. I've got Machakan warriors, feral spiders, and black hunters on my left flank. Now my center is mainly held by the spider knights, mixed in with hoplites, terracotta soldiers, and some black hunters in the center right. Back here I also have a little bit of province defense, and I have my Eyes of the Lord and mages scattered thither and yon. Up here are mages going to be summoning lesser fire elementals, and down here are mages going to be casting Swarm. So, and of course I have my flaming arrows guy in the back there. So the first volley of arrows goes out, starts doing pretty substantial damage. The skeletons clump up as they advance. We drop our flaming arrows. The spiders charge in, and look at those flaming arrows go. The banishments start coming down like crazy. Skeletons are burning. The flaming arrows are relentless, just scattering throughout the mass, burning the enemy down. The black hunters are charging in. The front line is getting entirely webbed up, and here's the good thing about this. The flaming arrows don't really bother the black hunters because they have prot 21, so an 8 AP damage hit still very unlikely to cause damage. They do massacre my great spiders. Don't take too much damage for them because it's 8 versus 7 damage. And the Machaka hoplites are also largely immune. They do massacre my unarmored units, like for example the mermen up here and the Machaka warriors. Those guys are in bad shape when hit with flaming arrows, but the hard core of my infantry are not bothered by them, and neither are the terracotta soldiers, because they are fire resistant and pierce resistant. So, we charge in, and the flaming arrows just massacre the enemy armies. Flaming arrows and banishment spam absolutely annihilate the Solarian hordes. The Rotarii attempt to retreat, only to be ripped down from behind by the black hunters charging after them, and the continuing arrow storm. So that is the battle. The lesser fire elementals didn't really do much. They ended up setting some of my guys on fire, but unfortunately, as often happens when you're using fire elementals, and the swarm kind of did a good job of distracting. So as you can see, we massacred a whole bunch of ghouls. We killed one gladiator and a whole lot of long dead. A whole lot of long dead. Including these long dead Principe still do not do well against being set on fire, because they only have 5 health. So even though the shield can block the arrow, they can still be set on fire, And see, like, 5 points of fire damage here slipping past the shield was enough to kill that one. So Long Dead are just bad against fire, generally speaking. You can see my Machaka hoplites here did really, really well. They took some heat fatigue damage, but honestly, they're tough enough that Long Dead can't really hurt them. Retarii can hurt them, but as I said, we just killed a lot of Retarii. So, total casualties on the enemy side, total 457 dead. I didn't manage to get the Mound Kings or the Cultist, unfortunately, but Cultists are really, really cheap anyway. But we killed 254 Long Dead, plus these assembled Long Dead. But then, more importantly, like I said, 131 Retarii. They cost 10 gold each, so that's 1,300 gold just down the tubes, wiped out. Which is really, really nice. 200 Long Dead, that doesn't really impair Sceleria at all. Like, that's nice, okay, fine, but relatively unimportant. The 131 Retarii and the 39 ghouls are more important. The ghouls, because they cost him permanent population to create, and the Retarii, of course, because they cost gold to hire, and so that's, like I said, 1,300 gold that's just gone. On my side, casualties very light. Like I said, I lost most of my Machaka warriors and mermen. Probably a lot of that was due to friendly fire, although I took 51 casualties. A lot of these kills are on swarm bugs, which is fine. But so I probably took a little bit of friendly fire there, but you can see my prophet, Peter Parker, 28 kills. The other commanders did nothing. Eyes of the Lord, 62 kills, so they were mowing through the skeletons pretty efficiently. And then the pygmies, 262 kills. Yeah, the Hunter Spiders, for some reason, anytime a Black Hunter dies and converts into a Hunter Spider, the Hunter Spiders will get all the kills assigned to them from all the Black Hunters for some reason. So the Black Hunters overall killed 48. None of the other kills matter. I lost none of my Spider Knights. I did lose one Black Hunter, and I lost one Hunter Spider, so that was probably due to the Retarii. And I lost one Machaka Hoplite. So overall, all that's happened is some of the chaff got weeded out. Everything else is fine. Yeah, that doesn't really impair my combat effectiveness at all, and it deals a pretty significant blow to him. Meanwhile, in Troya, this force just walked into my 1 point of province defense and wiped it out with no trouble. So, where we're at. We are sending troops. We need to patrol here in Santania. We need to shift gear because we need more chaff. We need more frontliners. We're running low. So we are recruiting. You know what? I've been considering starting to thug Spider Lords because I have Construction 2 now. And I'm like, I could put 2 Bracers of Protection on here. That would boost a Spider Lord up to 21. Cast Legions of Steel. Then they're both +5. So his prot goes up to 20. And then it goes up to, I think, prot 30. So I could have prot 30 Spider Lords, which would be able to tank a lot of skeletons. Would be sort of hilarious. I'm not sure what, like better weapon we could give them. I don't have the fire shield. I could, the charcoal shield that gives you fire shield effect. Fire shield is fantastic for fighting skeletons. I'm patrolling here because I think, if I recall correctly, there's a monster boar in the halls, and then I also have to find the monster boar in Santania. Still casting Blight on Sceleria, just to piss him off, basically. But as you can see, like I was saying, he has a lot of skeletons. 330 units down here, 200 units up here, mainly ghouls, so he's going to have probably about 100 fort defense. And since my army is primarily pygmies, my siege strength is actually very low. I do have Nazca sending in a group of Hatan Runas. They're going to try to... I think last I knew he was negotiating to see if he could hop through Ulm's territory to get down here and help me break forts, which is what I'm going to need. Basically, I can beat Sceleria in the field all I want, but if all he's really losing are skeletons, then it doesn't hurt him much. That battle hurt him because he lost a whole bunch of Retarii. But if I'm just killing skeletons, then it doesn't matter so much, if you know what I mean. So, King Chikatile has the Flaming Arrows, the Earth Meld going on. He's a happy camper. I've got gems redistributed to people. I am going to need to commit more gems. I also would like to start using gems to summon chaff, but what I need is chaff that are also going to stand up in the line. Chaff that are tough. So I'm binding Scorpion Beasts. You only get one when you bind a Scorpion Beast, but that Scorpion Beast is pretty tough. So what I think I'm going to do, right now in research, I'm researching Conjuration level 5, which should take me about 3 turns in order to get full-sized Fire Elementals. Once I have full-sized Fire Elementals, the game changes a little bit because Fire Elementals can be the front line, essentially. Against skeletons, Fire Elementals are super efficient. So I'm going to save my fire gems for that. If I really wanted to, what I could do is I could take all of these sorceress ladies and mass summon scorpion beasts and get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 scorpion beasts a turn for a couple of turns. And once I had like 30 scorpion beasts, I could kind of use them as a front line. Unfortunately, they are undisciplined, which makes it hard. But what I'm thinking is actually Kinchikatile. Do I have enchantment? I have enchantment 3 and conjuration 3. So Kinchikatile could actually flaming arrows, summon earth power, and then start dropping strength of giants. I need legions of steel. I need construction 3. That might be worth getting, because I could get that this turn, and legions of steel on my front line would be helpful in reducing casualties, because it just increases prot by 3. So for my hoplites, that would push their prot up to 20. Nah, Conjuration 5 is more important. Let's get Conjuration 5 as quick as we can. So, we're moving into Lockdown Mammoth Grove, and we're doing that because Mammoth Grove is a reanimation center where he's pumping out a whole lot of undead. Just by sitting on the fort, we prevent him from reanimating on that fort. So, this army, I kind of actually want to bring these guys down to help, because this is another, this is another 60 pygmies, which equates to, like, by the math we've been seeing, which equates to about 60 more long dead killed, or 60 more targets killed in any given battle. But I need to patrol with them, A, and B, this army in Troya, this little force, does contain 12 Retarii, and so I'm not sure that 60 pygmies could kill this army quick enough without flaming arrows, and I don't have another flaming arrows caster up here. I need somebody who has at least fire 2 to cast flaming arrows, so that he can cast Phoenix power and then flaming arrows with fire gems. Over here, I've shifted, so right here, I'm recruiting Machaka hoplites to serve as my chaff. Over here, I've shifted my pygmy production, so I've got, that's about 20 pygmies or so coming out. And I've got a few pygmies as well up here, so I'm going to be recruiting pygmies, handing them to Eyes of the Lord. Eyes of the Lord will be leading them down. We're just going to have more and more and more Eyes of the Lord in this army, because, of course, the Eyes of the Lord also destroy skeletons fairly efficiently. As you saw, 9 of them there got 62 kills with just spamming banishment. So, yeah, Sceleria doesn't have a great answer to that, to be honest. And we'll just keep doing that. So we're going to lock down Mammoth Grove, which is where he's reanimating a lot, because he's got some number of Celerian cultists in there. He's also got a bunch of Celerian cultists in here, in Sceleria itself. And I would love, 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 love to lock down as many of his forts as I can, just to slow down the rate of skeleton respawn, because this war is going to be decided by the rate of skeleton respawn, basically. He doesn't have much research, he doesn't have many other units, but what he does have is masses and masses and masses of skeletons. So if I can stop those masses and masses and masses of skeletons from being relevant, from functioning, then I can win. If he comes after me again, what's going to happen here is, so we've got Lesser Fire Elemental, and then you guys are going to swarm. We'll just copy and paste that. You are summoning Lesser Fire Elementals because you have Fire 2 and Fire Gems, so that's fine. You can continue to do that. We're actually gonna probably shift these troops down very slightly. I think the Fire Elemental and the Swarm will probably be able to hold that flank okay. And if not, you do have a lot of supporting fire. We'll get the cavemen up that side. And yeah. What I need basically is siege power. But I also need to maintain the pygmy growth, because what I want to do is I want to hit the point where this army is not stoppable by any realistic number of long dead. Like, I need to have enough pygmies under Flaming Arrow with enough banishment spam behind it that long dead just melt. Just don't accomplish anything against the army. That means I also need a line of tough chaff that long dead can't hurt quickly. So I'm close to that goal-ish, but like if he were to take all of his skeletons and ghouls and stuff and just throw them at me in a huge ball, I think he'd probably win, or at least he'd force me to retreat. So my plan here is I'm going to charge down here, hit Mammoth Grove, besiege it for a turn, bounce off, hit Thing Woods, retreat back, gather more troops, and then come in for the real attack. Because by doing that, I get to lock down, I get to stop 2 turns of his skeleton production, hopefully without being hit too hard. Now, if he sees me coming in, and he patrols with everything, plus pushes up these troops, he I think I probably still win. Because, I mean, like, that's... what, about 500 units? I just killed almost 500 units, and those units included 131 Retarii. Which... he doesn't have those anymore. All he's got is undead. So if he brings in all those other undead, my Eyes of the Lord and my Prophet will do even more work, while my Pygmies do comparable work, and my infantry take less damage because the Long Dead can't hurt them as much as the Retarii do. So I feel pretty confident about this. Unless he's got 400 extra skeletons hiding in his back pocket in this province. And even if he does, I still think I'd inflict pretty crippling damage before routing. And in the process of routing, well, he would cut off my retreat, so if I fight here and rout, I'll lose. Like, I'll just die. But I can counteract that by A, increasing the province defense there, and B, I can bring these troops down. And spam ashes to ashes. Spam ashes to ashes, cast spells. Yeah, so I can actually bring these guys down here and give Kakanja some nature gems and have him cast Swarm. So just Iron Skin and then Swarm. Yeah, and that will beat this force. So they can do that just to make sure I hold my retreat open. And so if he comes over here to attack this province, I'll just beat him that way, then move in to reclaim Troya. And yeah, I think we're on a pretty good place. This is a little bit risky, but I think I can make it. I think I'll win this fight if he makes a big fight out of it. If he doesn't make a fight out of it, he could just try to turtle in his forts, which would be okay, honestly. He could move a whole bunch of troops up here and just make it so I can't actually damage the walls, which is fine. Like, that won't bother me too much. Then I'll just take these troops, move them down here, and probably sit here an extra turn, depending on what I see in the provinces around me. So, in any case, thanks for watching. It's being fun. It's going well. Machaka is doing themselves proud. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 24. Okay, turn 24. Another Alquill from Phaeacia. Very, very nice. The Crystal Throne has been claimed by faceless bureaucratic drone in the name of Vordakai. Who was that? Vordakai. That is Tianqi, actually. Okay, interesting. So he's got the Crystal Throne. That's too bad, but it doesn't really change his abilities all that much, because he already had Imperial Geomancers. It means he can forge Crystal Boosters more easily. I dropped Blight on Sceleria once again. So Sceleria should be feeling a little bit of the pain. All these Dark Knowledges found nothing. Very depressing. I'm casting a few more Dark Knowledges this turn. After I've done that, I will have searched my whole empire for Death 9, and probably, I'm hoping that I'll find more. We've got another Prophet from Bandar Log. In Centania, these Hatun Runas jumped in order to... They're actually moving to help provide some siege strength for me in Sceleria. So he's just hopping through my territory. I'm going to move in and take it again next turn. In Mammoth Grove, my army rolled in and wiped out just a tiny little bit of province defense. We have the fort under siege. It's not going to stay under siege, because what I'm doing is I'm bouncing off to hit Vician Forest. But what I will do is I will leave Bakari here to maintain the siege, just in case. This will be the second time I've done this, and what I'm thinking is, next time when I hit a fort, I'm actually just going to stay there and see if I can suck him into a trap trying to break the siege. So he's got, and we will set Bakari actually, just in case he breaks it with one guy who's also set to retreat. We'll set Bakari to retreat, but we'll have him, like, up near the front. So he'll still retreat, and he'll be able to outrun skeletons, because he's combat speed 13, and skeletons are like combat speed 10, I think. But if the other guy is retreating, the other guys will retreat off the field before Bakari does. And so he'll, you know... In fact, we could even set him to hold one turn. Or hold or fire missile weapon, and then retreat. Because he does have a bow, he could get lucky if they break the siege with only one person, at least. This army's going to move down here. This army might actually have the siege strength to break this fort in one turn. Because the fort has 100 wall integrity,
They've got 130 units inside, but they're mainly long deads. And long deads only have 0.1 siege defense, right? The ghouls have 0.5, and the Solarian cultists have 0.5. But depending on the ratio here, this could easily, very easily be less than 60 siege defense, in which case I could break the fort and actually take it in one turn. Meanwhile, I'll also have that province, and that will enable me to kind of consolidate, and it'll give me a place from which to churn out even more pygmies. Because, of course, I can spam out pygmies from a palisade very, 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 very quickly. And if there's a lab here, which I hope there is, then it will also be a place from which I can restock my gems. And a place I can put mages in and all kinds of stuff. I'm forging some ivy crowns because this trying to recruit chaff really isn't working out. I mean, Machaka hoplites are good, solid defensive units, but they just cost too many resources and too many recruitment points. I mean, they also cost 18 recruitment points, which is very, very depressing because it means that I don't have anywhere that can recruit more than like 6 or 7 of them a turn. So I'm pumping them out at Wood of Many Paths. I had an unexpected event this turn that gave me 2,000 gold plus a bunch of gems and a Robe of Shadows. So I'm able to sort of maximize my production of a whole bunch of things. So I'm churning out a whole bunch of pygmies and some Machaka hoplites back here. Machaka hoplites and pygmies there. And in here, I'm going maximum spiders, because spiders are very, very good solid units in this context, plus some pygmies. And I'm starting to recruit another black sorcerer, because I do need more black sorcerers. I need the death, I need the earth, I need the high level fire. All that stuff is very, very important. So, research is going pretty well. 313 RP per month, solid at the moment. We'll hit conjuration level 5 in 2 turns, and then we'll hit construction level 3 for Legions of Steel and mannequins, which could be interesting. They have the sleep vines. We also have mandragoras, which are a little bit more powerful and have the sleep vines effect. Both mannequins and mandragoras are terrible at actually fighting, but they're pretty solid at sort of chaffing people up. I could also create lumber constructs, which are really tough, but 5 nature gems each is too many. In any case, we're going to hit level 3. We may go up to level 4. After that, we're definitely going to want... Actually, we will need to go up to construction level 4. And then we'll definitely want Alt 5 to lead us towards Mother Oak. And as we go down, we will also want... Alteration level 6 doesn't honestly give us all that much. Potentially Darkness. Although it's hard to get up to Death 4 from where I am. Yeah, I think we'll probably leave Alteration for another day after we hit Alt 5. And then we'll try to run down... Yeah, let's run down Enchantment a little ways. So we can get Relief active and Horde of Skeletons. Those could be very, very useful. Plus the hidden spells. Could save up some Earth Gems to go for that. Been saving up Earth Gems. Haven't been spending many. So, yeah, we've got pretty decent Earth Gem income. But we need to do some more site searching for Earth because we've done almost none. So, Mabuba. I don't have Thaumaturgy, which is where Gnome Lore is. So Mabuba is going to go out and start manually site searching for Earth 2. I think is going to be the plan there. And yeah, because Black Sorcerers I can get up to Earth 3. Forge a pair of boots to have Earth 4. And then that will give me... I actually only need Earth 3 for Hidden in Sand, Hidden Underneath. And of course I already have a Wasteland for Hidden in Sand. I can't cast Hidden in Snow, but that's alright. And I could potentially get up to Riches from Beneath if I'm lucky, I think. If I hit the 10% I could, but other than that it's going to be a little bit tricky. In any case, that'll be the plan. We'll get a few more Black Hunters. Black Hunters will increase the strength of our armies pretty significantly. And then over here we have, you know, just some infantry chaff coming out, which we'll definitely need. We've got a couple of commanders sitting around, so we'll launch them off to our forts, pick up troops, and start moving out with them. Cascater is going over here in order to stop this from becoming a problem. The Cult of Gaia. You know, he's bringing a reasonably decent army, to be honest. And of course, over here we have our Hoburg settlement. I'd like to build a lab and start recruiting horticulturists. For that reason, I need Oding to actually move over there as well. So Oding, hop, skip, and jump down there. I'll have to adjust my recruitment next turn to make sure I have the money to build that lab, and possibly also a fort. Now, in terms of geopolitics, The war against Sceleria is going fine. Slow, but fine. Nazca, of course, is doing what Nazca does, which is take over fucking everything. Nazca has launched an assault on Uruk, and seems to be doing quite well. Got 2 Uruk forts under siege, has taken that province. So Uruk is going down quickly. And that's going to be, I mean, a problem. Like, Nazca's going to be extremely large and powerful, and I can't really do anything to stop them. Ermor, I hear, is still pretty serious threat. Still a pretty serious threat. Ulm was attacking Man, and I think has not managed to take their capital yet, mainly because got into a dispute with Uruk over it. So I think this is why Uruk is dying, is because Ulm started fighting them, and then Nazca kind of jumped in. So we'll see what we can do about that. I'm just hoping to take enough of Sceleria and get big enough, and with high enough gem income, specifically of fire and death and nature, that I can be relevant in the mid to late game. I don't know that that's going to happen, but to be honest, being turned 24 next to Nazca and still alive as middle-aged Machaka is, you know, pretty good. Pretty solid. Like I said, I don't know that this is going to, I don't know that this is going to work out long-term, but we'll see. At least Nazca... yeah, he's got his dominion in my territories right over there. Yeah, you can see Nazca really does have the hell scales. Including death. Oof. He actually took death scales. Wow. His bless must be... I think I've seen his bless, if I recall correctly. It's like quickness, thunder weapons, something obscene. So, yeah, you know, that's what the, that's what all these scales pay for. In any case, that's the plan. Caelum also lost a province to villains down here. I don't have enough scouts, and so this province I'm actually recruiting double scouts instead of mages or commanders. I still have 4 forts pumping out mages, which is okay-ish. And I desperately need vision. So I need to take scouts. I need to spread them off up into Nazcan territory and over here. And I need that more than I need mages right at the moment, to be honest. Like, I'm doing okay, magically speaking. I could always do better, obviously, but I need vision. I'm also moving Oh Boy and Edie over here, and I'm doing that because Edie has the paths to summon fire ants, and Oh Boy has the paths to summon ivy ogres, which is what I'm going to be doing with my ivy crowns. Vine ogres, I'm sorry. Vine ogres are big, thick blocker boys, so we're actually going to start summoning them right now. So we're going to awaken Vine ogres. We are forging an ivy crown there and an ivy crown over here. An ivy crown will make it go from 2 Vine ogres per cast to 3, and which pays for itself pretty quickly within, I think, 4 or 5 turns of casting the spell. So Nguvumali will sit here casting Awaken Vine Ogres. Once Oh Boy gets over there, he will join him in Awakening Vine Ogres, and we'll give them both Ivy Crowns, and they'll sit here churning out Vine Ogres to serve as blockers for my my pygmies. Now, unfortunately, of course, Vine Ogres are somewhat susceptible to being shot with flaming arrows in the back, but they are giants and they have lots of HP, so I think we should be able to, if nothing else, maybe we can cast, like, Stone Skin or something on them with a mages. Some kind of a mage. So, in any case, thank you so much for watching. That was turn 24. I'll see y'all in turn 25. Nazca is definitely going to become a very serious problem, and something that really, I mean, they have to be dealt with. They will have to be dealt with at some point here. But we'll see. Like, obviously, I'm not going to do anything about that on my own hock without significant support from other nations, just because I, as middle-aged Machaka, cannot successfully fight Nazca in any meaningful way. Now, I could try some cheeky assassination strats, like with a handful of acorns or something for my my Bane spiders. The Black Bow of Botolf, pretty good for assassins, or pretty good in battles even to shoot at mages. But unfortunately, as I've mentioned before, Nazca has incredibly good patrol strength, and the people that I'll most want to assassinate will be death mages, so they will get to summon the undead on top of me, and then if I kill them, they just respawn as Malkis. So, you know, it's not very useful, to be honest. It's not, like, a high-value activity. So, in any case, that's the turn. I'll see y'all in turn 25.